John 15:9 through 17. I have loved you even as the Father has loved me. Remain in my love. When you obey my commandments, you remain in my love, just as I obey my Father's commandments and remain in his love. I have told you these things so that you will be filled with my joy. Yes, your joy will overflow. This is my commandment. Love each other in the same way I have loved you. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command. I no longer call you slaves, because a master doesn't confide in his slaves. Now you are my friends, since I have told you everything the Father told me. You didn't choose me, I chose you. I appointed you to go and produce lasting fruit, so that the Father will give you whatever you ask for using my name. This is my command. Love each other. The branch, unless severed, is completely attached to the vine. It receives nutrients and water from the vine, which pulls from the roots, the main source. Those nutrients are used by the branch to grow and produce fruit. Any excess water will evaporate from the leaf's surface. If at any point the branch is severed from the vine or loses connection, it will begin to wither. It has then lost the flow of nutrients, the source of life. When I was a young girl, my dad would plant various things, vegetable plants, trees. As he put them in the ground, he would often place a stake or some kind of barrier between the plant or tree and the things around it. There was this one time he and I planted a tree, and on this occasion, no stake was placed. The tree was mine to take care of. It grew and grew until one day I was mowing and hit the tree. Clearly, I didn't do my job well. No big deal, right? But the tree had a large gash in it. It grew awkwardly and not well. Eventually, my dad had to cut the tree down. When that tree lost its full connection to its life source, it began to wither. It is the same with us. The life-sustaining power of Jesus is what flows to those connected to him. When we are not connected to him, we too begin to fade. But how do we do this? Abide, remain. Let's look at Scripture. John 15:9 through 10 says, I have loved you even as the Father has loved me. Remain in my love. When you obey my commandments, you remain in my love, just as I obey my Father's commandments and remain in his love. Remember, Jesus is talking to his disciples. This is one of his last conversations with them before his death. He is speaking the words that will make them understand how they can continue to be connected to him even when he's gone. He tells them, I have loved you even as the Father has loved me. Remain in my love. Love is the key point here. We know this because a couple chapters back in John 13:33 through 35, Jesus says, Dear children, I will be with you only a little while longer. And as I told the Jewish leaders, you will search for me, but you can't come where I am going. So now I'm giving you a new commandment. Love each other. Just as I have loved you, you should love each other. Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples. Jesus specifically says that others will recognize his disciples because of their love for one another. So when Jesus reiterates in chapter 15 that when you obey my commandments, you remain in my love, just as I obey my Father's commandments and remain in his love, he is telling them that in order for them to remain or abide, they must love others. He even says it again in verse 17. This is my command. Love each other. Love? That's it? That's all I have to do to remain in the vine? But wait, what does Scripture say love is? Verses 12 and 13 tell us, this is my commandment. Love each other in the same way I have loved you. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. If we aren't exhibiting this sacrificial love that Jesus speaks of, then are we abiding in the vine? Take some time this week to read over these verses again. Reflect on the necessity of loving others in order to remain connected to the vine as we continue our study.